How many of us have tried and yet failed miserably when it comes to setting goals? When we're setting our goals, it's like we have such great ambitions, and yet oftentimes they just don't pan out. They don't work out. Either we do maybe part of the goal, or if we're really, really motivated, we may get like half of the goal done. But at the end of the day, especially for New Year's and things like that, we just don't get goals done. My name is Milton Houston, and today I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys how to set realistic goals. Because I don't know if you're anything like me. I'm pretty sure that you guys are like me. Maybe you're not. If you're anything like me, then I know that the goal setting season of January, the end of December, the beginning of January, the goal setting season is on its way. Right now, it is actually, today's date is December 19th, 2024. And, well, setting goals is like the biggest thing in this time of year. But the problem isn't that setting goals is a bad thing, because I think that setting goals, having a direction is really important, but oftentimes those goals aren't as realistic as they ought to be. And so I want to address that. I want to really share with you guys some things that we need to know about setting goals, about creating realistic goals that can really help us to drive us forward and to create more momentum as we're going forward within the year. So, hey, with that being said, let's jump into the content. First, I want to talk about 3 principles that we need to know about goals. About goals specifically, because I think it's such a big thing to know when it comes to just goals, goal setting. Whether you're creating performance goals, which are goals like, hey, I want to get this many pounds by this time, or you're creating a growth goal, which like, I want to overcome this habit, this fear, this distraction that really just stops me from getting to where I want to go. I want to talk about 3 principles that we all need to know. Now, I talk more in depth about these 3 principles in a video that I did some time ago, talking about setting goals in the right way. And so I'll be linking that video. It should be showing up. I'll be linking that video either somewhere up there, or it'll be in the link down in the description below. Please make sure to watch it if you want to know more about these 3 principles. The first principle we need to know about is that goals are motivated. Goals are created, goals are formed, goals are determined by our values. A value is anything that guards, governs, and guides your decisions. And whatever we wish to gain or to keep will dictate our goals. So whatever your values are, whatever the things that are guiding you, guarding you, and governing your decisions, those things will determine what you set out to do, what your goal is, what your preferred future is, what you want to set out and get. And so if we want to start setting realistic goals, if we want to set any goal, it starts by evaluating what we value. It starts by sitting back, really just being intentional and saying, okay, I have this goal. What is causing that? What you believe affects what you feel, and what you feel affects what you do. But the first thing that you'll always recognize is what you feel. And so you don't always recognize the first step, I guess, in the process. You feel this and you do this. But if you stop and you think and you're like, okay, I feel this, what am I believing right now? That is a really important thing. And I think that it almost works in the same way here, that we'll always recognize our goal and we'll always take action towards that goal, but we won't recognize the value unless we're intentional with sitting down. So that would be the first principle I want us to know. The second principle I really want us to know is that motivation drives perseverance. Basically, discipline and motivation are 2 sides of the same coin. I know that it's popular to say, you don't need to be motivated all the time. You just got to be disciplined. You got to be in it. I agree. Kind of. When you're motivated, it's easy to be disciplined. Oops. When you're motivated, it's easy to be disciplined. And yet when you're not disciplined, you're probably not motivated. And the thing is that when it comes to motivation, most people think that motivation is an outside thing, when really there are 2 different types of motivation. There's extrinsic, which is the outside pressure. It could be fear, it could be work pressure, it could be monetary value, it could be a reward, anything that's rewarding or punishing that's on the outside, or it could be an intrinsic value. Or motivation. It could be an intrinsic motivation, which is a inner self-motivation. That's where you hear that self-motivation talk. It's because it's intrinsic. It's inside of you. And this is typically stemmed out of a love for the project, for the process. So if you want to develop intrinsic self-motivation, Start learning to love the process. The last principle that I want to share is that hope creates goals. So if you don't have hope in something, then you limit your growth setting, your goal setting. I would challenge you guys, dare to hope again. Dare to take the chance to be like, you know what? I'm hoping for something great. What you hope for will determine what you set out to create and to do. And so just to hit those 3 points, hit those 3 principles again. 1, your goals are motivated by your values. Actually, your goals are determined by your values. 2, motivation drives perseverance. And lastly, hope creates goals. Now, these are some very good tips. And like I said earlier, I did create another video. Please feel free to click the link down below. It should show up there. With that being said, let's move on to the more engaging stuff, because we know about the growth principles. But how do we start setting realistic goals with those things in mind? I would say that it comes down to 5 different factors. The first one, I would say, is time. How much time can we realistically give to this goal? Oftentimes, I have to really just pull back on myself because I've learned to love reading. I used to hate it in middle school. Because we were forced to read certain things, and it just wasn't fun. But something that I've learned is that it's fun to do things in a realistic time frame. We all have busy schedules. We all have things that we have to adhere to, whether it's work, whether it's family, whether you're a single man like me and you're just trying to figure out apartment stuff and you're getting used to living on your own. Whatever it may be, time is a very delicate resource. It is a very delicate resource, and we have to give our time to different things. Like I said, work, family, personal growth, projects, things that we're working on. But one of the biggest excuses that many of us will make is that we don't have enough time to change. We don't have enough time to not only set a goal, but to keep that goal. But I want to just kind of challenge you guys, because that's a mistake. That's honestly and truly a mistake. It doesn't have to take hours to do something productive, to do something, to move in the direction of a goal. Maybe it does take 1 hour. Maybe it does take 30 minutes. Maybe it takes 15 minutes. For me, I always advocate to start small. Start small and build yourself up. Build up that resilience. Build up that stamina. Build up those things. Because I know for myself, I have 15 minutes every day. I at least have 15 minutes every day. If I'm spending 7 hours on my phone, I can spare 15 minutes on doing something productive. Starting, being realistic and saying, okay, what is the realistic time that I'd be able to give myself? And it kind of goes into our second point, because we're talking about time. Now we're talking about energy, which is all about, do I have the stamina to move forward in this? Because stamina is a big thing. Resilience is a big thing. It's not like you just come out and just go for it. I've heard it said that willpower is overrated. I've heard that willpower is like a rubber band. Willpower is like a rubber band. It gets stretched and it gets stretched. And as long as you're intentional in focusing on it, it will stay stretched and you'll be booking it. You'll get going. But as soon as life comes and hits your hand and you let go, boom, it'll snap back into place and we'll be right back where we started. The energy question, do I have the stamina for this, is all about not taking on too much too quickly. Being intentional, like I said, 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 2 minutes a day. If you're starting a reading habit, 2 minutes a day. If you're trying to get off your phone, maybe put your phone somewhere where it's not as accessible. But do enough where it's challenging, but don't do too much where you're overwhelmed, where you're stuck, where you're challenged too much and discouraged. Because the best growth happens in the Goldilocks zone. The zone where it's not too easy and it's not too hard, but it's just right. The third point that I really want to go over is experience. If you want to set realistic goals, ask yourself, do I have experience doing this thing? This experience question is about know-how. Do you know how to do the thing? And if you don't know how to do the thing, then don't expect that you're just going to magically just learn all of a sudden, like, oh, well, I'm just going to be the best at this. I'm going to take 3 months and then I'm going to be the best. If you're trying to do something that you used to do, let's say if you used to play guitar, you have to spend less time preparing because you used to do it. You already have know-how and knowledge, and so you can just kind of jump back in. You don't have to worry about prep time of learning how to do it. But if you're going to set a realistic goal and you're absolutely brand new to it, then you're going to have to take into account the learning curve, the learning process. Your training and your experience need to be factored in your development. How are you growing? How are you gaining new experience? How are you gaining new knowledge or training as you're getting ready to accomplish this goal? The next point I'd like to say is when it comes to setting realistic goals, priority. Is this a true priority in your life? My mentor, he consistently talks about the passion of the Christ. And I think about that, and I think about the scripture where it talks about, for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, talking about Jesus. When I think about, the word passion, the first time that I heard it, I think about emotion. Honestly, I think about sexual intimacy. I think about that closeness. I think about wanting to be intimate or to be close or to feel really excited or jumpy about a certain thing. But passion is more than just closeness. The passion I'm talking about here, when it comes to the passion of the Christ, it is a determination. He determined that the joy set before him was a top priority. It was something worth sacrificing for. And there's no point in doing anything if it's not a priority, because there's a difference between cosmetic change and needed change. It's easy to change the outside, but changing the outside doesn't change what needs to be changed or what needs to be set out or what needs to be done. And so identifying that priority is really, really important. The next point I'd like to say is people. When you're setting a realistic goal, determining the people in your corner who are helping you set this goal is really, really important. It's asking the question like, who in my life can provide feedback? Who in my life can help me become aware of the things that I need to prioritize, the things that I need to experience, the things that I need to give my energy and time to? Who are the people that can help me and hold me accountable? People will grow you. So asking about feedback, asking, what do you think that I need to grow in? Or if you already have your goal set, like, okay, I have these goals. What do you think about them? Do you think that they're realistic or not? And the last point I'd say, if you're going to create a realistic goal, is to create a realistic deadline, which says, when do I need this thing done by? Not many things motivate a person more than a deadline and an audience. If you're going to create a realistic goal, create it with a deadline. And if you're having trouble reaching that deadline, then that just means it wasn't as realistic as we thought. But it doesn't mean to throw away the goal. All it means is just to change the date. If it is realistic in time, if it's realistic in your energies, if you're experienced, if you're becoming experienced about it, and if it's a top priority, and if you have people in your corner helping you set the deadline, then it should get done well. I hope that this video has really, really added value to you. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed making it. If you've enjoyed the video, please feel free to comment down below. Let me know, what did you learn and what can you apply? But with that being said, my name is Milton. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And until we meet again, stay safe and God bless.